Greetings, fellow DC fans. DCEU December 2021 now continues on with Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. In a flashback to his childhood, Bruce Wayne runs from his parents' funeral. He falls into a cave, where a circling vortex of bats elevates him back to the surface. Back in the present, 18 months after the battle between Superman and General Zod in Metropolis, Superman has become a controversial figure. Bruce is now a billionaire who's operated Gotham City as the vigilante Batman for 20 years. Having witnessed the chaos of that battle in person, he sees Superman as an existential threat to humanity. After learning of Batman's form of justice, Clark Kent seeks to expose him via Daily Planet articles. Wayne learns that Russian weapon trafficker Anatoly Knyazev has been contacting LexCorp mogul Lex Luthor. Meanwhile, Luthor attempts to persuade Senator June Finch to allow him to import kryptonite discovered after Zod's terraforming attempt, so it could be used as a deterrent against future Kryptonian meta-human threats. She declines, but Luthor makes alternate plans with Finch's subordinate, granting him access to Zod's body on the Kryptonian scout ship. Bruce attempts to get LexCorp to steal encrypted data from the company's mainframe, but antiquities dealer Diana Prince takes it from him. She returns it after failing to access the information. While decrypting the drive, Bruce dreams of a post-apocalyptic world where he leads rebels against an evil Superman. He is awakened by an unidentified person appearing through a portal who tells him that Lois Lane is the key and urges him to find the others before vanishing. The decrypted drive reveals Luthor's files on several metahumans across the globe. One is Diana, who appears in a photo from World War I. Wayne tells Alfred Pennyworth that he plans to steal weaponized kryptonite, if necessary, to fight Superman. A widely publicized congressional hearing led by Finch is still to question Superman's actions against Zod. A bomb smuggled in by Luthor detonates, killing everyone present except Superman. Superman blames himself for not detecting in time and self-imposes exile. Elsewhere, Batman breaks into LexCorp and steals the kryptonite. He builds a powered exoskeleton, a kryptonite grenade launcher, and a kryptonite-tipped spear. Meanwhile, Luthor enters the Kryptonian ship and accesses its vast database of technology. Luthor lures Superman out of exile by kidnapping Lois and Martha Kent, Clark's adopted mother. He pushes Lois off the LexCorp building. Superman saves and confronts Luthor, who reveals he manipulated him and Batman by fueling their distrust. Luthor demands he kill Batman in exchange for Martha's life. Superman tries to explain this to Batman, who instead attacks him and eventually subdues him using kryptonite gas. As Batman prepares to move him for the kill using the spear, Superman pleads with him to save Martha, the same name as Batman's mother. Batman hesitates in confusion long enough for Lois to arrive and explain what Superman meant. Coming to his senses about how far he's fallen from grace, he promises to rescue Martha. Superman regains his strength and confronts Luthor on the scout ship. Luthor executes his backup plan, unleashing a monster genetically engineered from DNA from both Zod's body and his own. Diana arrives, joining Batman and Superman in their fight against the creature. Superman realizes his vulnerability to kryptonite and retrieves the spear, fatally impaling the creature with it. In its dying moments, the creature kills Superman, who was weakened by kryptonite exposure. Following Luthor's arrest, Batman confronts him in prison, warning him that he will always be watching. Luthor gloats that Superman's death has made the world vulnerable to powerful alien threats. A memorial is held for Superman in Metropolis. Clark is also declared dead, and Wayne and Prince both attend his funeral in Smallville. Martha gives Lois an envelope containing an engagement ring from Clark. Bruce tells Diana that he regrets having failed Superman in life. He asks her to help form a team of metahumans, starting with those named in Luthor's files, to protect the world in Superman's absence. As they depart, the dirt atop Clark's coffin levitates. Ooh. Alright. So first off, let's look at the production of this movie, beginning with the development. In June 2013, Warner Bros. Announced that director Zack Snyder and screenwriter David S. Goyer will return for Man of Steel sequel, with the studio considering the release for the film in 2015. The following month, Snyder confirmed at San Diego Comic-Con International that the follow-up to Man of Steel would feature Superman and Batman meeting for the first time on film. Goyer and Snyder would co-write the story, with Goyer authoring the script. Despite saying in 2006 that a Batman vs. Superman film is, quote, where you go when you admit to yourself that you've exhausted all possibilities, an admission that this franchise is on its last gasp. And Christopher Nolan involved in advisory roles as executive producer. According to Snyder, the film would take inspiration from the comic The Dark Knight Returns. In November 2013, Snyder clarified his film would not be based upon the aforementioned graphic novel. Quote, if you were going to do that, you would need a different Superman. We're bringing Batman into the universe that now this Superman lives in. Batman v Superman marks the first appearance of Wonder Woman in a live-action theatrical film, which Warner Bros. Have been developing as far back as 1996. In December 2013, Chris Terrio was hired to rewrite the script due to Gray's commitments to other projects. Further commenting on the influences, Terrio revealed in an article published by the Wall Street Journal that the movie would draw inspiration from Nolan's Batman trilogy, Italian Cinematician Umberto Eco's 1972 essay, The Myth of Superman, and the W.H. Auden poem, Musée des Beaux-Arts, which contrasts the Quodosian details of normal people's lives with the epic struggles of mythological figures. According to him, quote, in superhero stories, Batman is Pluto, god of the underworld, and Superman is Apollo, god of the sky. That began to be really interesting to me, that their conflict is not just due to manipulation, but their very existence. The Joker and the Riddler were supposed to appear in the film, but Snyder ultimately decided to cut them from the final script. The film's official title, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, was revealed in May 2014. Snyder felt that having the V in the title instead of versus was a way to, quote, to keep it from being a straight versus movie, even in the most subtle way. Henry Cavill later stated, quote, I wouldn't call this a Superman sequel. This is Batman vs. Superman. It's a separate entity altogether. It's introducing the Batman character expanding upon the universe, which was kicked off by Man of Steel. Forbes noted that although the film originally as a sequel to Man of Steel, it was, quote, revamped into a backdoor pilot for Justice League and/or an eventual standalone Batman movie. As part of a settlement with his heirs, this is the first Batman production that lists Bill Finger as a co-creator. In April 2021, Terrio revealed that the script was now entitled Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, while Snyder indicated that the name of the film was decided by studio executives and they'd fought for the abbreviation of the word versus in the title. Potential titles that the pair had initially wanted to include Justice League Foundations, Justice League Rising, and Son of Sun and Night of Night. Anyway, now on to the casting. Henry Cavill, Amy Adams, Kevin Costner, Diane Lane, Lawrence Fishburne, Henry Links, and Christina Ryan reprised their roles for Man of Steel. Joining the cast are Ben Affleck as Batman, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, Jeremy Irons as Alfred Pennyworth, Ray Fisher as Cyborg, Jason Momoa as Aquaman, and Tao Okamoto as Luthor's assistant Mercy Graves. Scoot McNairy and Callum Mulvey were cast as Wallace Keefe and Anatoly Knyazev, while Joe Malone was cast as Jeanette Clyburn, a character that was featured exclusively in the Ultimate Edition home media release. Dawn of Justice is Affleck's second film as a comic book superhero. He played Daredevil in 2003 film of the same name, and was initially reluctant to accept playing Batman, citing that he, quote, felt he didn't fit the traditional mold, but once Zack Snyder showed him the concept, and that would be both different from the great movies of Christopher Nolan and Christian Bale made, but still keeping in with tradition, he was excited. Affleck previously stated in 2006 that Daredevil had, quote, inoculated him from ever playing another superhero. Snyder cast an older Batman to be a layer of juxtaposition against a younger Superman, while, quote, bearing the scars of a seasoned crime fighter, but retaining the charm that the world sees in billionaire Bruce Wayne. Nolan was involved with the casting of Affleck as he was the first actor Snyder approached for the part. The director had also discussed the part with Josh Brolin. Bale admitted he wanted to play Batman again after The Dark Knight Rises, though he stated that his Batman does not belong in either film and he was never approached by Warner Brothers to play the role again. On casting Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, Snyder offered, quote, having Jesse in the role allows us to explore the interesting dynamic, and also take the character in some new and unexpected directions. Bryan Cranston was considered for the role before Eisenberg was cast, Producer Charles Roven revealed that this incarnation of Wonder Woman would use the character's origins from the 2011 The New 52 reboot of the DC continuity, where the character would be a demigoddess and the daughter of Zeus. This deviates from the character's original origins, where she was a clay figure brought to life by the gods. Olga Kurlenko, sorry if I butchered the pronunciation of that, was considered for the role of Wonder Woman before Godot was cast. John Justice Ray Fisher's film debut, and the first live-action film to feature Cyborg, whose role will become more significant in future DC Comics films. It is also the live-action theatrical debut of Aquaman. The casting of Affleck, Godot, and Eisenberg was criticized. Affleck's casting caused significant backlash from comic book fans, with multiple online petitions demanding his removal from the role. Unlike previous Batman actors, he was not considered intimidating enough for the role by the protesters. Conversely, Pop Journal's J.C. Masek III supported Affleck's casting as Batman, stating, quote, "Way back when the news was new, I wrote a Pop Matters article defending the choice of Ben Affleck as Batman. I'll let that one speak for itself." Via social media, fans criticized Godot's small frame in contrast to Wonder Woman's warrior-like build in the comics. Responding to this, Godot stated that she had been participating in various training regimens to achieve a body that stays closer to the source material. Fans also criticized Eisenberg's casting, feeling that the then 30-year-old was too young for the role and not physically imposing enough. Upon the film's release, both Affleck and Godot received considerable praise for their performances, despite the overall negative reception of the film itself. And now on to the design. Michael Wilkinson reprised his duties as costume designer. He updated Superman's suit from Man of Steel so that it, quote, feels fresh and right for this installment of Zack Snyder's comic book universe. The first Batsuit featured in the film is influenced by The Dark Knight Returns. Unlike the suit seen in previous live-action Batman films, it is made of cloth instead of armor, and is a cast of the physique of fitness model Rossano Rhea. An image of the Wonder Woman costume was revealed at the 2014 San Diego Comic-Con, in which the costume desaturates the red, blue, and gold colors that make up the costume of most versions of the character. A second Batsuit was also unveiled at Comic-Con, and like the first, it is armored. Aquaman's look in this film shows him tattooed in Mori-like patterns, and wearing a suit decked out in shades of gold, black, and silver armor. According to the Warner Brothers studio lot, the next generation Batmobile combined inspiration from both the sleek, streamlined design of classic Batmobiles and the high suspension military build for the more recent Tumblr from the Dark Knight trilogy. Designed by production designer Patrick Totopoulos, the pronunciation of that, the Batmobile is about 20 feet long and 12 feet wide. Glasses Cavill wears as Clark Kent were made by British spectacle designer Tom Davies. And now on to the filming. In September 2013, Larry Fong joined the crew as cinematographer, who previously worked with Zack Snyder on 300, Watchmen, and Sucker Punch. Initial filming commenced on October 19, 2013 at East Los Angeles College to show an American football game between Gotham City University and rival Metropolis State University. At the end of the month, construction began on the Kent farm seen in Man of Steel for the film. Principal photography involving the main cast of the film began on May 19, 2014 in Detroit, Michigan, with scenes featuring Gal Gadot as Diana Prince being filmed early on May 16th. While filming in Michigan, the production spent a total of $199 million in the state. The scene of a state funeral at the Arlington National Cemetery, attributed by the United States Army, was actually filmed in Michigan as well, using green screen. Additional filming began in Chicago, Illinois in November 2014. Other locations included the Michigan Motion Picture Studios, the Ellen Edith Broad Art Museum at Michigan State University, Yorkville, Illinois, the South Pacific, and New Mexico. Sequences of the film, including a scene depicting the murdered Bruce Wayne's parents, were filmed using IMAX cameras. The planned shooting in Morocco was shifted to New Mexico due to incidents related to the 2014 Ebola outbreak. Principal photography wrapped on December 5th, 2014. And now on to the music and soundtrack. Hans Zimmer composed the film score, emphasizing a challenge not to reuse the themes he established with the Batman character from Christopher Nolan's trilogy. Junkie XL, who provided additional music in Man of Steel, also returned for this film, helping to compose the theme for Batman. Originally, Zimmer enlisted Junkie XL to compose the Batman material, with Zimmer planning to focus solely on the Superman side of the score, but the final Batman theme was written by both composers as a collaboration. Zimmer knew that he had significant trouble in finding a new angle from which to tell the story, and after the release of the film, Zimmer announced that he was retired from superhero films, though he has since retracted this. The soundtrack album of the film was released on March 18, 2016 by Water Tower Music. Songs featured in the film include Kang Ling, an instrument made from a human thigh bone, a traditional song performed by the monks of Tipsy Trogling Monastery, Dahara Mashallah Night and Day, and Every Time We Say Goodbye, written by Cole Porter, performed by Richard Cheese. Shostakovich Waltz 2, Jazz Suite No. 2, written by Dmitri Shostakovich, performed by the Royal Concertgebouw Orchestra, conducted by Riccardo Chailly, and Amazing Grace, arranged and performed by John Allen, and again performed by the Canadian Scottish Regiment Pipes and Drums and the United States 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing Band. Alright. Excuse me. Alright, and now finally, let's look at themes and analysis of this movie. Batman v Superman has been interpreted as an allegory about contemporary American politics, particularly America's response to 9/11. Writing for the commercial appeal, John Bufuse noted the similarities between the Metropolis battle at the beginning of the film and 9/11. Quote, "The idea is that just as 9/11 had a transformative existential impact on the psyche of America, the Battle of Metropolis, a subsequent realization that an all-powerful alien could destroy his adopted planet with ease, has altered human consciousness, creating new standards of morality and levels of fear. The feeling of powerlessness that turns good men cruel, in the words of Wayne's butler Alfred. He says that Batman comes out of the Metropolis battle scene as a changed and even more deranged man." Kofi Allo, comicbook.com, interpreted the allegory as Batman represented, quote, "the right-wing hawk reaction to 9/11, an America that prefers security over civil liberties, the Bush-era mentality of stopping threats proactively before they can threaten close to home." Meanwhile, Superman Outlaw writes, represents, quote, "the more left-wing liberal American ideal. Luther represents insidious opportunists who exploit and still exploit the turmoil of a post-9/11 war-torn world for personal gain." Outlaw suggests that the scene where Batman and Superman find their common ground in the Mothers is parallel to the notion that conflicting political ideologies still have similarities. Writing for Screen Rant, Andrew Dice wrote, quote, "Bruce has, like so many political figures and nations, given up the moral high ground, rationalized his extreme methods as necessary, identified an enemy he does not seek to understand, and abandoned the spirit, if not the explicit values upon which his country, rather upon which his mission was founded." Writing for Vice, Cleanup Tap wrote that the film, quote, "was intended as an unpleasant lambast of the government and the popular reaction to 9/11. He compares Superman's character to the Muslim American experience, concluding that the film, quote, "is a condemnation of what America is becoming, a place where immigrants, especially those unfairly tainted because of the mass destruction caused by a few, are no longer part of a viable American dream." Okay, there we go. Writing for The New Yorker, Richard Brody analyzed the allegory differently. Batman, according to Brody, represents the Democratic Party, where Superman represents the Republican Party. Brody feels this notion is supported by the fact that Batman's eyes glow blue when he is wearing the exoskeleton, and Superman's glow red when he uses C-vision. Brody criticizes this allegory as salacious for suggesting that the Democratic Party allies itself with evil, which just has no relationship to contemporary politics. However, he called it a powerful metaphor for suggesting, quote, "there being much less of an urge to find a superhero or to magnify demagogues who pretend to be one, and politicians merely do their jobs competently and sensitively." Mark Hughes, rating for Forbes, notes that the film inverts the politics of The Dark Knight Returns by having Superman as the outsider character who is questioned by the government and media. He writes, quote, "This is a reversal of sorts for the comic, where Superman represents the establishment perspective, while Batman is the outcast under constant press, public, and government scrutiny." He also noted how Batman sees Superman as human for the first time during the Martha scene. Quote, "He's never looked at Superman as a real person or as a man before. The silly Superman is vulnerable. He has a regular guy's name and a woman who loves him crying over him and a mom. So that's words basically save my mother. We see very emotionally how Batman realizes what he's doing and that he's the bad guy, a painful but very human revelatory moment. Richard Newby, writing for The Hollywood Reporter, wrote that the Martha scene, quote, is Bruce's opportunity to reconnect with his own humanity and the humanity of Superman. Batman doesn't end the fight because their mothers have the same name, but because he recognizes Superman as someone with a mother and thus human, despite his alien origins. The battle against Superman is ultimately Bruce's realization that he could be better and reconnect with humanity again. It's not a redemption or full change, as he just killed mercenaries at the warehouse in the following scene, but it's a start. Ben Affleck said that he liked, quote, the idea of showing accountability and the consequences of violence and seeing that there were real people in those buildings, with the scene of Bruce Wayne at the Battle of Metropolis. So overall, yeah, this movie does have some problems, but overall, I think it's just... But once you get past those, you can see this movie is just okay, so, yeah. So overall, I give Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice 3 Superman capes out of 5. Well, anyway, tomorrow as we take a look at the next film in the series, Suicide Squad. So until then, in the words of Superman himself, I'm here to fight for truth, justice, and a better tomorrow.